Hello, everybody. We are in week 6 and we'll be covering chapter 6, which is all about memory. For this chapter, here are your objectives. There are a lot of different models for understanding memory. So, one thing I just want you to know going into reading this chapter is try to just understand that each model just looks at memory from a different lens. Different ways that we understand how memory works, whether it be processing of memory, what stages does our memory sort of happen in, or whether it be the actual logistics of how memory works. We're going to be pretty much moving through different stages of memory, looking at sensory memory, short-term memory, and long-term memory. Everything happens within those 3 stages. Where we'll probably be spending more time, though, is in long-term memory, because that's where the bulk of our memories get stored for lots of different things, whether it be things that we're doing on a regular basis, more of the procedural stuff we do, like tying our shoes or brushing our teeth or riding a bike, or whether it be things that we commit to long-term memory on purpose, things like remembering dates or remembering phone numbers. And so we'll be talking also about strategies and techniques for chugging things into long-term memory, and then as well remembering how do we get things back out once they've gone in. Towards the latter end of the chapter, we'll take a look at some things that can affect your memory negatively, like trauma or different types of diseases like Alzheimer's disease and different dementia illnesses. And so that'll be interesting to see exactly what does that mean when we have a memory impairment, what part of the brain is affected, and what does that mean for us in terms of what we can recall or what we can get back out when we want it. This is also a really great chapter for improving your study habits, for improving the ways that you learn. And I love that it falls earlier in the semester that we cover this, because the chapter also has some great tips for how to memorize different topics, where is the best time and place to be studying when you're going to be taking a test, all different kinds of things that I think you'll find very useful going forward. And maybe some of it is review for you if you already are a good test taker and a good study, have good study habits. But if not, maybe you'll learn some things that you can find that you can implement right away with your studying. So here are the lecture slides that go along with the chapter. This week you'll be watching all the videos in my psych lab that are in episode 8 of memory. And there's some really great ones in there this week. There's some interesting research from Elizabeth Loftus, which is connected actually to our reading in the Hawk book this week. This week's discussion is going to center around memory reconstruction. So this is some of Elizabeth Loftus' work in the field of memory. How do we reconstruct our memory when we're trying to go back and remember details from an event? She specifically looks at this in the context of eyewitness testimony. And so she questions how reliable is eyewitness testimony. What are some things that law enforcement and law officials should know about memory that might help them to understand how reliable people's memories are, as well as tactics and techniques for questioning witnesses that see events happen. How can we make sure that we're doing it in a way that's going to enhance the memories that are being recalled rather than negatively affect them. So the reading is about the evidence she's found related to eyewitness testimony. And then the very end of the reading touches on repressed memories. And this is sort of a controversial topic looking at whether or not people actually can repress a memory that would then be recalled later. What does she have to say about that? And what has research shown? So people have highly researched this area, as you can imagine, because it's such a hot topic. For example, somebody to recall abuse that took place, 20, 30 years prior, and they've never said anything about it, and all of a sudden they have a memory for it. Where do those memories usually happen? Like, in what context are people remembering that kind of thing, if they are? And what can alter or get in the way of people's memories for traumatic events? So that's what the reading's about. But I just want to reiterate that as you're reading the Hawk book and you're taking in Elizabeth Loftus's work, you also want to be reading in the main chapter just all the other elements about memory that then help to understand her work. So I would really recommend reading the main chapter first before you try to dive into this discussion. I noticed last week some people posted their response to the questions very, very early, like Monday. And so I'm just questioning whether or not you're actually reading through everything before answering these questions. And you really should be. Otherwise, your answers are not complete. You're not, using the tools in your toolkit, so to speak, to answer these questions. And your toolkit is the book, that you're reading, the chapter, as well as the Hawk reading, as well as the videos. All of those things should be digested before you're trying to then attack the discussion question for the week. That way you're able to pull from those sources, and I should see you doing that in your discussion questions. I want to see you integrating in what you're learning, and really these discussion questions are your chance to showcase to me what you've learned. We don't have in-class discussions, really. This is our in-class discussion. We don't have any other writing assignments. So when you're writing out these discussions, they should be well thought out. They should be thorough, and they should integrate the readings. They shouldn't be quick little few sentence answers. And so too, your responses to other people. So every week you're responding to 3 people, and you're kind of giving your spin on what they say. Take that as an opportunity to insert information you've learned from the readings, to enhance what's being said, to add to it, to extend it. I've noticed some people just really kind of skimping on what you're saying to others, like, oh, I agree, I understand what you said there, I like what you said, and then kind of leaving it at that. The purpose of the discussions is for discussion. It means lengthier analysis of a topic that kind of goes back and forth. And so I really encourage you all too to read what people are saying about your posts and respond back to them. I kind of look at that when I'm grading. I look to see what the discourse has been, who has said what to who and how. How'd you respond? Was it informed or was it opinionated? Did you cite your sources? Did you integrate in the readings? Did you, put in some vocab and some key terms that were relevant? Those are all the things that I'm looking for. So if you're not getting 10 out of 10 on these discussions, those are some ways that you can improve upon that and try to get that 10 out of 10. So I hope that's clear for everyone. I really wanted to spend some time going into the discussion this week because I really feel like you all could probably benefit from bolstering those discussion posts a little bit. All right, and then lastly, for this week, you just have a quiz. So no test this week, just a quiz. The quiz is Friday. I had just put out an announcement. There was an error last week in what it said on Plato. Accidentally, the date was correct, but the day was wrong. It said Saturday, and then it had the correct date. Always go by your syllabus if in doubt, because I've checked that over, and that's all accurate. Sometimes a little error gets made simply by me not clicking the right box, or thinking I clicked a box and not doing the right one. So quizzes are always on Friday. I do apologize about that, and I've given the opportunity to take that quiz if you didn't. Quiz number 3, I think it was, in week 4. So if you weren't able to take it because it shut you out, you can go back in and retake that now. You'll have until Sunday to do that. But if you were able to take the quiz and you did take it, then you're fine. Okay, you can't take it again. So you just, it is what it is. But I do apologize. I don't make those errors on purpose. Usually they're little things like that. But one good rule of thumb is just always check your syllabus. All the dates on the syllabus are correct. And quizzes are always due by Friday, Friday at 11:59 p.m. So that will help when in doubt. If you're not sure and there's 2 things that conflict, hopefully that will help clarify a little bit. So that is it for the week. Again, please let me know if you have any questions or need any help. The best way to reach me is by email. I do have the Ask Dr. W tab in communications, but I don't get those alerts on my phone. I don't get them. So unless I'm like physically going in every day and checking that, I don't always know that you post there, and I don't check it every single day. Whereas my email, I'm always checking. I'm always on it. So one good way would be for you to email me directly, and then I'll see that right away. So it's swilliams@westfield.ma.edu. If you email me, if you have a more time-sensitive question, like regarding exam dates and things like that, definitely email me so that way I can more quickly respond to you. All right, guys, well, have a good 3-day weekend, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, everyone.